Hello everybody. Today we are going to complete our. We are going. We are in chapter 2 from about my book, The End of Housing Problem Now. Chapter 2 is speaking about how to apply my working paper. This video number 8. In this video, we are talking about a new housing fund. It's different than any housing fund in the world, because all housing funds in the world are failed and will fail, because all funds take interest or profit or usury, so which make overprice for the cost of the construction, for construction of any real estate, and so the rent will be higher. The cost, the price, or when you buy a house is will be higher. Another reason that all systems in the world, both a socialist system or capitalist system, the real estate at the end it will be as a good is thing to buy and sell, like everything, like the car, television, any set. So the price, all housing fund in the world failed, and it will fail, because this is both reason is very wrong. But in my working paper, this fund will give good loan with good installment. There is no issue, there is no profit at all. From this fund you will take money and return it back in installment without any profit, any usury. So also the other thing is good in my working paper, that the housing will be necessary, so the prices of the real estate will be cheap, cheap, and this is a good solution for housing problem. Another thing, if you make a comparison between my solution, the housing fund in my working paper, and the other in the world, housing fund, that the recent housing fund, it's burden on the budget of the government of the nation. But in my working paper, this is the source of this housing fund is away from the government budget. So it's easy way, and its source is reasonable, and you think how to get this source. So this is I will prove this is the best housing fund. It's suitable for all countries in the world. And by the way, if the world want to solve its problem, all problem, traffic, any problem of poverty, any problem in the world, have to be refine the real estate investment. There is real estate investment is the enemy. If and then we will kill the real estate investment. By the way, if you want to hurt or make damage or destroy or any big harm to any government, invest in real estate investment. Invest in real estate. If you want to hurt your country, invest in real estate. In real estate, build more building, because this is the theory of the world. That if you the government, if you will build more, you will solve the housing problem. But this is complicated, the housing problem really. So the good thing to you that the housing must be necessary, as in my book, or my working paper, as I aim. So we have to find, if you want solve our world troubles, we have to refine real estate investment and think it, and but and think it. If you see, this is the real estate bubbles which happened in America, which hurt in America economy, and also the world economy. This is the bad policy for real estate policy, and they use a mortgage is very bad, and the policy is very bad. So I think this is hard to America until now. and they didn't solve it. But by using my housing fund, will solve this kind of problem. By way, I give you an example, as you will see in the future, China has 60 million vacant department or unit, housing units. China will face directly real estate bubbles, which will hurt China. But by the policy in the world, they cannot solve it. I was in China and informed me that you have to do some that. But the problem is this. So told me that the central government will face this problem. But I think that also because there are corruption in every country in the world, there are real estate investors. They opposite any effort in to face these problems. So it's very dangerous. Any country want to solve it's a problem. She has to refine the real estate investment. But if we are going to talk what our housing fund do, housing fund he will give free loan to anyone build his home. There is no usury, there is no profit at all. You will be the cost of the material and the cost of the construction. We will see in this video. We'll see in this video the challenge of the housing fund, then the source of the housing fund, then the role of the housing fund in different stage, and then in another video we'll talk about every item for or source for real estate investment alone. Let us we're going to talk about housing fund. Let us make a comparison between recent housing fund and the proposal or suggested housing fund. The cost of building in recent time is equals the cost of materials plus overprice in the materials price due to the exist of housing problem, plus the construction process the effort of the builders itself cost, plus the deposit interest in the bank, plus the bank profit, plus the mortgage profit if you buy by mortgage system. But in the suggest housing fund, in my working paper, the cost of building of the building is equal to the cost of materials, but it's not same prices of the material in these cases, plus the construction process cost, the company which will build the cost of building itself process. So the difference between the recent housing fund and my suggest housing fund is the difference is the overprice in the materials self plus the deposit interest, the bank profit, the mortgage profit. This is which make complicated the housing problem in the world. But when you're using the housing fund, there is suggest housing fund, as in my working paper, it will not be housing problem because it will be cheaper, more cheaper. The objective housing fund is it will giving people who giving people who want to build home a good loan without interest. There is no usury. There is no issue. But for people who want really build homes, second object will be the guarantor for construction company when it's built to who wish to build his home. Assume anybody want to build a home and there is no he cannot get a good loan from a housing fund, especially in the first stage. He can make a contract. Anybody can make a contract with the construction company and will pay to them he will pay to them into installment, but the housing fund will be the guarantor for this contract. Third, the guarantor to tenant when it helps the landlord to build the real estate. Assume one landlord has a land or house with one floor, and he want to complete or finish his building. He can make a contract with the tenant to help him to make finish the building, and the housing fund will be the guarantor for this contract. Look here. We have to know the source for this housing fund. And the housing fund would not be burden on the state, because the state will get large amount of money in the housing fund as a result of the following. But by the way, the housing fund must be away from the government budget. That it will not enter the budget of the government. It will be private but under control of the government. What is source? First source, non-occupancy tax and minimum electricity and water fine. What does it mean? This mean here in my working paper, I will give you money to build your home, but I have to show that you will live in, or let anybody live in. Don't make it vacant. But if you want to make it vacant, I will impose amount depend on the area of the department. I will impose a fine if you don't use it, the department or home, but with a special discipline. I will explain it later. Second, insurance for rent, which will keep the housing fund and keep in the housing fund and its return. That means the rent is something for money for the benefit of staying, but not for damage for rent. So the landlord have to renew the department. So I impose here money, small money. This money will keep in the housing fund and return back to the landlord to renew the apartment in the end of contract. In the end of contract or the tenant leave. Third, 1/3 of the profit of the business center, which will be held in different or established in different neighborhood. In my working paper, I will, as in last video, I show you that I will divide the country itself in neighborhood. Neighborhood, it will be some of homes in this area. I will establish business center, shop, library, something like this. This is to serve the neighborhood. But in neighborhood, this business center will be managed by the citizens from the neighborhood itself. The profit of the business center will be divided for three parties. 1/3 of this profit. 1/3 of this profit will go to the housing fund. I will explain it later also. Also, the value of rental housing, which will be rented by the city council in the new cities. When the new cities, if the country will build the homes, build the homes, and the man who booked or live in this department or homes, he be in installment. That means he didn't the owner, so he cannot rent it to anybody if he didn't use it. So I give him a chance. Rent this. Choose anybody to rent this apartment, but the amount of rental money will be go to the housing fund, but with the condition that the man who booked this apartment will not be anything until the tenant leave the department of the hotel. Here non-occupancy tax for unused land. The problem here, some people keep his land which is called white land or embassy land. He didn't use his land to build a home, something else, until the prices will be higher. So I assume here non-occupancy tax. This money will go to the housing fund also. The value of rental buildings that will be given up by their owners after compensating them. Here as a rule, the world have to be redesigned, and the redistribution, as I told you before, the world have to be redesigned, and the redistribution of the world, especially in some countries which live beside the river or sea or water banks at all. So we have to be redesigned. Redesign, I give the people allowance, the owner landlord of homes, some advantage or some advantage as a land and loan and the rent of the building itself for 10 years, and then to build a home in a new city. But after a certain period, the home itself, which is the man given up, it will be go to the government. So the rent value for this building will go to the housing fund. Look to the rule of the housing fund. It will be the varies from one period to another. In the first period, as example, in the first period, for the beginning of the application and working paper until end of the first 5 years, I assume the first period, first years will be 5 years. What you can do? He have to purchase the loans because any government have to respect the individual economy. Here in this time, some people bought homes by bank or by mortgage, which he will pay much money, profit or interest, which is called usury fund. And there are two categories: the owners of apartment purchase loans, 1/3 of the outcome. Here are talking about first stage. Second is the property owners in need of finishing their apartment. Real estate must be planned. Here we'll give the money. Give money for the owner who has already built homes, but he want to finish, because the first stage the money in the housing fund will not be too much. So I will give him money to finish his home, to populate the people or to live. But with one condition: this property will be in a planned area, not in the slum or the area I want to evacuate it or damp it, unload it to redistribute to the people. The amount we have to assign 1/3 of the outcome of the fund in this time, in this first stage. Second, real owners bonded giving up. Here, some people who give up his home in the area, in the capital or the places which I want to redistribute or redesign this area. I will give him. These people will give him money to build a home in a new city or planned area. But here's one condition: the people who give up his home, he have to make it four classes, because not anyone. I give a priority to some of them. Not anyone asked to give up his home. I will give him money and the land and rent his houses for 10 years. But here I have to divide it as the people, as give every places a priority. My priority is, first priority is the housing in the real areas, or Iceland, Delta, and the historic building, because this is important area. Historic is important to don't destroy the historical building. Also, in rural areas, I have to give this area priority because there are a lack of water and poverty of water. So I want have to change the agriculture in this land to better way. Class 2, housing and rural housing, which is in the real area but not in the land, not in the agricultural land, it's beside it. I give him housing and real housing and real housing, which hinder the movement of the traffic. Some houses may be in the street, make the traffic crowded. So give him priority to destroy it and to make the road is more wide and make the traffic easy. Class 3, slums building sticking to the report of the local council. Slums we have to unload the slums because slums is a great problem. So I have to unload it also to and redesign this area. Give him 15. Here is 40. Give him 40. This 30 and this 50. 15. Sorry, 15. Class 4. Class 4 fourth in the area not covered above. Maybe some government want to unload redistribute area. As he report, he can give him 15 size because it's different from places to place. The second period from the end of the first period to settle the case of stability of real estate market. Purchase loans as in the part and as in the first stage. The owner of a bonded property 1/3 of the fund, with the inclusion all groups mentioned with a different degree of certainty in the period of stability. Giving free good loan to anybody wish to build a home, depending on what came in the previous period, in addition to the possibility of the purchasing real estate from the owner of particular importance 1/3 of the. Here I can buy some real estate in some area to like some places in the coast on the sea. Something is important, and the ordinary people of the city cannot buy it, but the fund can buy to make redesign the country itself if need. A final period according to the previous period, in addition to building a new housing. In this period after the stability of the housing market, the fund can build and give the people housing and give it to and the new landlord, he will be the prices of housing into installment. This is the rule of the housing fund. As you see, there is no burden in the government, and the government in this case gives the citizens itself the right, They give him a free loan and the land to build, and also give the government right, government right that the people will surely live in their homes, because there is no housing problem in the world. The housing problem exists because some people leave their homes vacant, not used.